Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Astrology News Report, an alternate view of world events as seen through the lens of Vedic astrology. Presented by yours truly, Ron Berger. Today is July 12th, 2015. So now we'll take a look at the week that was and how the planets' positions in the zodiac matched up with the past week's events. When planets change signs, they create temporary instability. Last week, on the July 4th weekend, Venus changed signs, entering Leo. This week, it's Jupiter's turn to change signs, on July 13th, when it too will enter Leo. Jupiter moves slowly, so its transition takes a few days. Both of these planets are connected with money. Venus is directly finance and value. Jupiter is prosperity. Leo is the sign of kings, leaders, ministers, and governments. Therefore, no surprise that the financial situation and government involvement in it is a major topic in the world right now. After Greece emphatically voted no on the European banks' terms for debt repayment, the whole financial world was thrown into turmoil. Stock and commodity markets immediately went down. Ministers hurriedly called meetings. CEOs huddled in their boardrooms. A new ultimatum was issued to Greece, and Prime Minister Tsipras appeared to capitulate. But wait, now the German finance minister is still objecting. It's turned into a battle of wills and a war of nerves, with each side stiffening rather than compromising. The prognosis for this coming week doesn't look good. Note that Mars, planet of combat, will be conjunct Mercury, planet of communications and rational decisions. A combination that is more conducive to argument and everyone fighting for their own version of the facts. Nor was Greece the only manifestation of Jupiter's troubles. The Chinese stock market, wobbling for the last few weeks due to being pumped up too high for too long, started to crash. The Chinese government fears that with so many working-class Chinese now invested in their stock market, a crash could spark some serious civil unrest. And so extraordinary measures are being taken by the government to stop the bubble from deflating further. Problem is, when planets are changing signs, they are unstable, as are their significations. Jupiter, the planet of prosperity, now exiting Cancer, causing instability in markets as it changes signs into Leo. Making things worse is the fact that the borderline between a water sign and a fire sign is an especially deep pothole for a planet to transit through. It has a special name in Vedic astrology, conjunct. A planet that is conjunct is very weak, and its significations are in trouble. Starting July 4th, Mercury joined Mars in Gemini. That put the planet of communications, data, and information together with the planet of attack and destruction. Interestingly, Mars is also the planet of thievery. Translation: computer hacking. Last week, the federal government's Office of Personnel Management admitted that they had lost personal information, including social security numbers, on over 22 million people from government computers due to a cyber attack, which has been attributed to China. Mars is in Gemini and was joined by Mercury last week. Mars is action, and Mercury is the ruling planet for Gemini. This is a very energizing combination for Gemini rising people. Here's an example. Pope Francis. The pontiff flew to South America last week and drew huge enthusiastic crowds wherever he went. A crowd of over 500,000 greeted him at his first stop in Ecuador. The Pope of the Poor returned to Spanish-speaking South America for the first time as pontiff. Everywhere he went, he was stressing the importance of protecting the needy and the environment from exploitation and the need for dialogue amongst all sectors of society. Francis has defined the economic challenge of this era as the failure of global capitalism to create fairness, equity, and dignified livelihoods for the poor. He didn't mince words either, calling the excesses of global capitalism the dung of the devil. You'll be hearing even more from Pope Francis next month when combative Mars transits through his second house of speaking. Venus is young females. Venus is in Leo, the sign of royalty, recognition, honors, and awards. New York City hosted a ticker-tape parade for the U.S. women's national soccer team on Friday in honor of their World Cup championship win. It was the first time a women's sports team has received the honor. Okay, that'll do it for this week's Review of the Week. By the way, I'll be skipping next week due to being on the road. So the next installment will be in a couple of weeks on July 26th. But there will be the occasional updates on Twitter, as usual, at Astro News Report.